there, podcast land. This is Kim Parkinson, podcast growth coach and producer at KP Creative Media, and I am welcoming you to another episode of Podcasting for Spiritual Women. If content planning has ever felt rigid, overwhelming, or just not aligned with your energy, today we're going to be talking about that. You're going to love today's episode. We are going to be talking about how to plan your podcast like a priestess using sacred structure, intuitive timing, and just enough strategy to stay consistent without losing the magic of your message. And this all becomes true because so many of our planning systems are built for the masculine, right? They're linear, they're rigid, they're deadline driven even. And while that may work for some, many of us spiritual women are intuitive, cyclical, and creative. And those systems are often feel pressured, right? We feel really unaligned with those rigid details, that linear thinking, and we're just not at peace with it. So when I talk about priestess planning, I am talking about building your podcast rhythm around your energy, your inner seasons, and the sacred cycles that hold you and make you who you are. Your voice is a part of your spiritual practice, and your planning should be as well. So let's talk about your energy. I want you to ask yourself, what season am I in? Am I blooming? Am I resting? Am I visioning? We talked about this in episode 6. So if you really need to get down to the nitty-gritty on this, I really suggest that you go back and listen to that episode so you can really get an understanding of where you might be on your journey and your path in order to make podcasting aligned for you. Another thing that you might want to consider is, what is the capacity that you have right now? And the capacity could be energetic, emotional, spiritual. Are you capable of putting forth the energy that is needed to really dive deep into yourself and bring forward these stories that people want to hear about? Bring forward the tales and the ideas of how you're going to align this to go along your customer journey. You'll want to align your content with perhaps the wheel of the year, like create expansive content around summer solstice or reflective episodes around Samhain, right? You could possibly create episodes that align with the seasons, and not just the season you're in, but the seasons of the year as well. And you may also consider your moon cycle, right? Where is the moon right now in alignment with your life? Are you really feeling like you want to do a lot of recording and it's waxing? Or maybe you really need to kind of get inward and you need to do some more task-driven and editing and it's waning. It's up to you how your energy is around each of these. And you also want to listen to your own personal rhythm. So whether or not that's menstrual, seasonal, or even business cycles, right? They all matter, and it's all where you are and where it is in alignment to how you want to bring forth the knowledge and the wisdom that you have. This doesn't mean everything has to be perfectly timed. It just means that you're checking in with what feels true and sustainable to you. Now let's blend that energetic wisdom with a bit of grounded structure. And here's a simple system that I can recommend to you. Choose 3 to 4 core content themes. So for my particular podcast, my core content themes on my spreadsheet are launching, growth, monetization, and tech. Right? So these are the 4 things that I talk about when I'm thinking about coming up with content. And then I'm going to batch topics into mini-series. So 3 to 5 episodes on each of those themes. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but 3 to 5 episodes on each of those themes. And this is just going to create that clarity for you and be bingeable value for your listeners. It also makes a lot of sense because realistically, each episode should just be one topic. And if you're talking about multiple, or you have in your head, you want to talk about multiple, that then becomes multiple episodes. And so make sure that each episode sequentially is actually going to be in alignment with your topic. So whether or not your topic is about launching growth monetization tech, something else, whatever it is that you're speaking on, you can then say, I'm going to be talking about launching for a couple of episodes. I'm going to be talking about growth for a couple of episodes, and just keep with those so that your listener can follow along and truly be guided with you or by you for this particular content that you're bringing them. Now you can build in the Wheel of the Year. We have Lunasa and Mabon and Astera, and you can really anchor some special seasonal episodes around those too. And the best way to do that is if you have planned ahead, right? If you haven't planned ahead, you may not realize until maybe it's too late that, oh, shoot, I realized that Lunasa's episode should have been out this week, and I have a interview that I did that I promised would go out this week. So you might want to also put in your little spreadsheet what Wheel of the Year celebrations you want to speak about. Now, you'll also want to make sure that you schedule in rest and repurposing, right? Just give yourself space to breathe and reflect. And my biggest thing that I could tell you is try to batch when you feel that you have the energy to do this, or when you feel that this is the right time to do this. And that's because, things happen, whether or not you go on vacation, whether or not maybe they're doing some yard work outside, or they're digging up the road, or something that is maybe external that's beyond your control. Knowing that you have those episodes batched is just a relief, right? It's not like you feel like, oh, I have to stay up really late tonight so I can record that episode that needs to go out on Tuesday. It's not like that at all. It's more that you already know you've got that in-house all ready to go. And you feel more confident that you can then deliver it in the fashion and in time that you want it to. So this strategy is aligned, flexible, and also purpose-filled, right? You really want to make sure that you are truly being one with yourself, but also giving that client and that listener, that potential client, that listener, the true value that you are bringing without feeling rushed. There's nothing worse than feeling rushed, right? So here is an idea of where the magic really kind of starts to deepen here. So try turning your planning process into a ritual. All right. Light a candle or incense. If you were to see me right now, I actually did that right before I recorded. I lit 3 candles and some incense, and shut the door. And I just really wanted to create a sacred space, right? Pull an oracle card or tarot card if that is where you feel aligned. Ask your guides or your higher self what your audience needs. Maybe this isn't a planning session that you have already done, and you're just pulling up that spreadsheet and you're like, oh, yep, I want to talk about this, because we are aligning each episode so that they start talking about whatever I'm going to be launching in 2 months, a month, 6 weeks, wherever that might be. Some people like to journal before they put out an episode just to see what might come through. Now, I have a tendency to write a bunch of little notes, and sometimes I write myself an entire outline. I try not to write out an entire script. I do this because I just feel like it's more natural when you can hear me speaking. I don't feel like I'm clipped because I'm like, oh, what did I have to say? And again, if you have to do a script out, or you want to do a script out, you can do that without making it feel scripty, for lack of a better term, making it feel like it has been read by you. But what I want you to do is also feel like you can add in your own information as you go along. So if you're reading that script and you get a hit of something that you should continue to talk about, just continue to go with it. And then let that guide your next series of episodes, right? All of this is just to align yourself with where you want the listener to go, where you want the listener to really get to know you, and then kind of like guide them into your funnel, for lack of a better term. I know that's maybe not very feminine, but realistically, we are guiding them into a particular direction that is going to then lead them to make that call or to book that call with you, buy that course, whatever that thing might be. Follow you on social media even. So this is what I do for myself. Honestly, I have lit the candles, I have lit the incense. I do pull oracle cards on a very regular basis. And then when I have written out my outline, I always add in extra space so that I can go off on a tangent if I want. So it just depends on what is going to really strike me and what stories I might want to be telling you at that time. So here's your reminder. You don't need a rigid system. You don't need to force consistency. You just need a rhythm that honors your gifts, your timing, and your soul. Now, planning a podcast like a priestess is about weaving an intuition, alignment, and ease. So your voice flows and your business grows. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Isn't that? I just came up with that. So your voice flows and your business grows. I might be using that more often now. And if you'd like to have any kind of support on creating your podcast rhythm, I am here and I would love to guide you. So you can head over to kpcreativemedia.com and schedule your free podcast growth clarity call with me. And that way we can craft your show schedule and your content calendar together in a way that just feels right for you and something that really aligns with your life, your business, and where you want your ideal listener and client to come from and be, and what path you want to hold their hand and take them on. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, your voice is your magic, and keep sharing it with the world. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Podcasting for Spiritual Women. If you would like more strategy and tips and some tricks on how to make your podcast better, I recommend that you join my newsletter list. You can find that at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter. Until next time.